We respectfully request the Sangha of great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel and teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Thiên chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như hạ liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tốc chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Olahudi Samyao Samputosye. Namo Tadakta Toya Daya Alahade Tamyo Tambo Da Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou chi yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Qingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left-Home people, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、净量师父、智扬大师、师父上人、各位智者人、各位善知识、阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Hòa Thượng Thanh Lương, Hòa Thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the 7th of August 2021. We gathered here to continue discussing the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. All right, we're on slide 35, where it's discussing this survey, the preview on the 6 requirements of a sutra, Buddhist sutra. So far we at the 5th requirement of a place. When you speak Dharma, you need a place. The Buddhas back then didn't necessarily need a temple or anything, but you still need a place because it gives you. So the place here was in a country of Magadha, and so it gives us an idea of the kind of cultural background or language that was used. All right. Number 6 requirement on slide number 36 is requirement of assembly. This is very important. This is one of very important requirement for sutra. Who was it spoken to? This determines the kind of Dharma that we can expect to learn from these people. In particular, this Avatamsaka assembly was made up the Bodhisattvas. Only Bodhisattvas, as a matter of fact. And so you can tell that this is Dharma for enlightened people. And therefore, when we listen to it, we plant the seeds of enlightenment ourselves. Okay? So not only just the assembly, but in general, but also it tells you that the scope of the Dharma itself. This is an assembly of bodhisattvas, meaning this range of teachings goes from low-level bodhisattvas to very high-level bodhisattvas. Okay? So this is why it's so beautiful, because depending your levels, you can get your appropriate dosage. And similarly, when Master YongHua spoke the Dharma, he spoke it for his disciples. This is a long, long time ago when he spoke all these sutras. And it's unfortunate to me because he spoke to those sutras. For example, he spoke the Shrangma Sutra when he lectured on that in the US to a group of master's degree students from some kind of University of Washington or something like that. And you can tell that you can go so far because these people will not be able to connect with the high level understanding. Okay? And yet, his Shrangma Sutra explanation is superb. It's one of the deepest, one of the most profound explanations on that particular sutra. This sutra here itself is, you notice that when you listen to his explanation, it's kind of not very high level, unfortunately, for me. And that's why I enjoyed it so much. If I were high level, this is so boring, No, I enjoyed it too much back then. So it's not a good thing. I'm kidding. You guys are so serious. But it's the assembly, it's the attendees that will invoke, that will demand the level of depth of the teachings. Okay, so I feel that again it's unfortunate because Master YongHua is a master at lecturing sutras. His skill is so incredible. Skill level is so incredible. He when he explained the sutra, also very early on in his teaching career, where his level probably a little bit lower. Okay, and his the people in the assembly also low levels as well. And that's a problem. You need to connect with the audience, otherwise they quit, they give up. So it's unfortunate. I noticed that his explanation were a little bit on the low side of the principles of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So maybe hopefully when it's our turn now, I feel in all modesty, your level much higher than his. So you better pray that my YongHua is assisting me, otherwise I won't be able to help you. This is the nice thing about being a Dharma master. You know why I put my palms together when we did the Dharma request? I said, oh God, oh Buddha, please help me out today. Don't let me embarrass myself again. Okay, and that's a trick too. When you guys need to speak Dharma, ask for help. And you're sincere, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will come and help you out. Okay, so again here on 37, all the, wait, the assemblies, 8 arhats? No way. Who said that? No way, there's no arhats. Okay, arahats is no A here. Okay, the arhats were not allowed to listen. It's not meant for them, so they turn away. Q&A, go ahead.
Hello, Master. I have 2 questions. So first question is that do you plan to elaborate on Shrangama Sutra, since Master YongHua's explanation was...
Okay, Shrangama Sutra, do I plan to elaborate on that? I doubt it, because at this point here in my career, I don't think I can add more to the sutra. If I were to lecture in that sutra, for example, I simply will be regurgitating what Master YongHua taught, okay? And that would be a waste of time for you. I mean, I will not sit here and pretend I can add more to it than what he did. He did a fantastic job, okay? He delved into deeper things, and I'm afraid if I go any deeper, I'm gonna, no one will listen, because we'll lose people left and right. Here, at least I can BS and tell you about what's happening in Australia and so forth. It's another continent in the context of Avatamsaka Sutra. But Shrangama Sutra is very demanding, very rigorous. You do not mess with Chan. Those are the Chan principles, the Chan things that I feel that only the Chinese texts I saw from Master Yongming-Shou, the sixth Pure Land Patriarch, who is a transformation body of Amitabha Sutra. It is that level of complexity. And you read that thing here, it's just scary. Okay, maybe when I retire, I have more time to do that and read. I would love to go back to Yongming-Shou, Chan Shi, the Pure Land Patriarch. He's a Chan master, yet he chose to teach a Pure Land because he's an Amitabha Buddha body. So it's funny, because for him, he started his career by learning Chan, and then he, in order to do his job, he specialized in teaching Pure Land only. Yeah. So that tells you that his skill level is pretty high. And I'd love to, in the future, to delve back into it. And if I read that, then I might lecture on Shrangama Sutra. Then I would pleasurize it, if you will. Okay. Q&A. Second question.
Second question is, since at the Buddha's time, only bodhisattvas can hear the sutra, and then how come now at this Dharma ending time, lower level people like us can hear the sutra?
Is there a question?
Yes, that's a question.
Why are we hearing it?
No, it was reserved for only bodhisattva at the Buddha's time.
Yeah.
Now, at this time, seems like, Buddha's not even here, and it's Dharma ending age. But then lower level people like us have the rights or the privilege to hear the sutra.
Absolutely, because some of you are bodhisattvas. Let's face it, you're special. You're bodhisattvas. Look around you. You look closely. The bodhisattvas among you. Ready to, who? Okay. I'm not sure why the Buddha spoke the sutra only for bodhisattvas. To me, that's something he did I couldn't understand. To me, he speaks sutra for everyone. Okay, and even if we don't get it, we plant the seeds. Didn't we hear somewhere in this sutra where when you hear the sutra, you have these indestructible seeds in your consciousness, vajra seeds in consciousness. So even if you don't understand at all, you have these incredible seeds. I mean, to me, Buddhism is not so much about something you see concrete results right away, like winning a super lotto or buying a car and so forth. No, Buddhism is about judiciously planting the seeds. Number one. Okay, And those are, without the seeds, there's no way for you to become enlightened. No way. Okay? So for you to become enlightened, you must have a lot of, plant a lot of Vajra seeds. Vajra seeds are the seeds of enlightenment. So I didn't quite understand why he only explained it to the bodhisattvas. Maybe he said, this is so advanced, let me teach the bodhisattvas first, get it out of the way. The rest of the humans are not quite ready yet. And so let's do the most important things first. And that's to take care of the bodhisattvas. Okay? And then for the humans, they need to be prepared. They need more time. So then after he took care of the most important task to serve the bodhisattvas. Okay, so in Buddhism, when you're bodhisattva, we bend over backwards to serve you. Okay, so it's a privileged class. No two ways about it. Okay, all Buddhas know about you. All of them. So that's why he took care of them first. And then after that, in order to take care of the humans, in order to train the humans, he needs to go through, he taught us what you need to do in order to train the humans. Okay? So he went through the Agama to give them the proper foundation. Agama, what's the important thing about the Agama teaching? The first thing he taught is Agama. It's about the proper foundation. Okay? Back then, there were yogis, Brahmins, all kinds of practitioners who had a pure life. They led a life of purity, a life of devotion, a life of faith. But Buddha felt like with all these superior, pure people, the foundation is still not solid enough for wisdom. Wisdom needs to stand on something, that foundation there. So that's why he said, I need to, the Agama thing is primarily to give them the proper foundation that they can build on. This foundation in Buddhism is something that grows, that keeps on getting built, gets enlarged. Okay? Gets stronger, gets deeper. So he started with that. And that's the Agama thing, that's the main thing. It's not about breathing. To me, it's not about breathing. I'm not interested in breathing. Who cares about breathing? Why do you have to learn to breathe? You're breathing already, aren't you? Anyway, I'm opinionated, as you notice by now. Okay, I'm very opinionated. Okay. I lived my entire life, never worried about having breathing. Now I have to learn how to breathe? You're kidding me. So I lived my entire life wrong? I'm offended by that concept. You have to learn how to breathe again. I don't get it. Okay, so that's my criticism of the Hinayana people. Don't teach me how to breathe. I can't. Who cares? Tell me something else. I didn't know. So anyway, so to me, it's not about breathing, not about all this death thing or art thing, because to me, it's a natural thing. Look, all of you who become arhats, did you know why you became arhats? See, you have no clues why you became arhats. So who cares about Four Noble Truths about to me? Sorry, I got too far. I take it back. Okay, so that's why to do with humans, it takes a lot of preparation. You need to pay them because humans are very, very difficult to teach. The Buddha said he realizes that the humans, forget it. These are not worth it because it's not worth my time. It's too much work, and they're too slow, and they're too full of themselves. What else? Peter, what else is wrong with humans? Okay, so that's why he ignored the humans. But then because he got trapped. the Christian god, Daniel's boss, and the king of the first dhyana heaven, they colluded and they requested the Buddha to teach. So the Buddha had no choice. He said he had to teach the humans. So he has to design this beautiful coursework, where it started first with the Agama, and then Vaipulya, and then Prajna, and then Lotus, Nirvana. Okay, so he prepared them. He paved the way. Okay, and that's how I see. That's when you look at that. That's how you see. In order to teach humans, this is what you need to do. Okay, it takes time. You can't rush it. Okay, so that's how I see. That's how I saw the Buddhist teaching. It's masterful how he prepared. He paved the way for them. So Agama to me is purity, is the foundation. But Purya, it says, don't be so full of yourselves, a lot more going on. So that's sort of like a sales pitch. Okay, you're happy, right? You feel better about yourself, right? You know, by the way, there's much better things around the corner. Okay, that's Vaipulya. And then Prajna is when this is the prize in Buddhism. You practice at all, you have to shoot for enlightenment. Because you're not enlightened yet, you don't know what you're missing. Okay? So enlightenment is the prize. Okay? If you encounter Mahayana and you don't set the sight on, I'm going to be enlightened, then there's something wrong with you. Okay? Yeah. So that's spiritual enlightenment. And however, that enlightenment is still not that high, so he has to teach a perfect enlightenment in the Lotus Sutra, where he says, enlightenment is not enough. You should be a Buddha yourself. Enlightenment versus Buddha is not quite the same. So what's the second question again?
We would have the privilege to. The question was why we at the Dharma ending age, we're not bodhisattvas, have the privilege to hear about this. Because I think that you already answered.
Not only did I say that, I said that there are bodhisattvas present, okay, and they need to be taken care of, but also it's not, to me, it's not just the bodhisattvas. Mahayana has something very, very unique in that it's called a sudden teaching. Okay, so even though you're not a bodhisattva yet, you can become enlightened yourself very quickly. So therefore, you cannot ignore that. Okay, the Buddha has been preparing us already. When he first came to our world in the past, people didn't know about Buddhism. Now we have Buddhism for 3,000 years already. You have all these seats, Vajra seats. Okay, now so it's the conditions are different. You're different, so that's why the reason, the primary reason why, even though you're not a bodhisattva, that you get to listen to this is because I probably cheated you in the past. That's why you're here to collect. Okay? It's very hard to attend these things, honestly. And not many people can attend these things. So clearly you're here because it's not the first time. I cheated you in the past, so now you know me, so now you're coming to collect again. All right. Okay, no arhats. Okay, I don't know which text is from. This is weird. It's no arhats. There's supposed to be no arhats at all. Now there are arhats, but before is no arhats. 38. 4 questions are hard to ask the Buddha. I wish I could ask Master YongHua questions too myself, but never got a chance to because he died. So before I could think of any questions, wishing to respect his desires, I don't ask him questions at all. Number 1, what are the 4 questions? The 4 questions that when the Buddha told his disciples he was leaving the world. So the 4 questions that the Aniruddha were taught to ask the Buddha was number 1, when Buddha was here, they relied upon the Buddha. After the Buddha is gone, where should they? Where could they rely on? Okay, and the second question, did we have an answer for this? Okay, and the second question was, he was our teacher when he was alive. After he's dead, who should we look for as a teacher? Number 3. There's some Buddha was able to control these evil-natured bhikshus. After he's gone, who's in control of them? Bhikshu needs to. Okay? And number 4, sutras are compiled, and how do you distinguish the sutras from Buddhist sutras from the other non-Buddhist sutras? And so the Buddha says the 4 things you should dwell. There are 4 places that you could dwell on after I'm gone. The 4 stations of mindfulness. This is a very important concept. The 四念处, the 4 stations of mindfulness. First of all, the body is impure. Don't be so attached to your body. Okay? No matter what you do to it, it's still very impure. It excretes impurities constantly. So don't worship your body. There's no need. Okay, it's just a tool. Okay, so don't be so enamored with your body. Okay, so in particular, be careful of the people who are so attached to the bodies. Number 2, feelings are fleeting. They are suffering. Including especially feelings of pleasure actually are suffering. Think about it. No need to elaborate on this, okay? Because it only makes you depressed. What? I can't feel good about myself? Then why do I have to live? You live here because you have to repay your debts. You're here to be paid. Number 3, the Buddha says you should know that thoughts are impermanent. Thoughts are fleeting. They come and go with their own will. There's no pattern. There's no rhyme or reason. They just come. All of a sudden, this thought pops in you. And that's it. And you think it's yours. Okay? And you cannot tell your own thoughts from others' thoughts. I talked to some people recently, and they're crazy. They're manic, they're depressed, they're panic attacks, they are vain, so many problems. And so when I realized it, who am I talking to? Multiple personality as well. You never know who you're talking to. Okay, so what to do? It's because these people don't realize that the thoughts are impermanent. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do if you have these thoughts coming in your head? You know they're impermanent, they don't last. So what do? Nothing. Don't do anything. They come and go by themselves. Okay? So train yourself to ignore these thoughts. And the first rule of thumb you need to understand, the foundation of this is that, of our Mahayana practice is what? Ignore the thoughts. They are preoccupied with yourself. No need to worry about yourself. No need to indulge yourself. That's what confused people do. They indulge themselves. They say, oh, my life's so hard already. Let's indulge ourselves. Okay? If you have wisdom, then you stop those thoughts and you can ignore those thoughts. Those thoughts are natural, by the way. You will want to indulge yourself. That's just life. That's how we made up. But just watch out for those types of thoughts and ignore them. Do nothing whatsoever. Do nothing. Because they will die by themselves. You don't even need to kill them. Like you kill a mosquito or a rat or a chicken. Yes, 3.
Master, is an impure thought at the same level of seriousness as an impure act?
Impure thoughts are the cause of impure acts. For example, that's specific. An impure act would be polluting the environment. That's impure. Yeah. And there's so many impure thoughts that are the root cause of such behavior. Yes? Are we clear on that? Okay. So which one is worse? Of course, excuse me, if you get to the coarse level where you commit offenses with your body, that's very low level. As cultivators, we need to watch out for these impure thoughts so that we are not fooled by them and take action and enact these thoughts. Okay? So in the Buddhist practice, part of the initial teaching in the Buddha in the Agama period is that the Buddha says your foundation is to recognize that these thoughts are not okay. It's not okay to say me, 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 me. It's not okay at all. He insulted me. There's no me who is insulted. How stupid can you be? Huh? Buddhist teaching is when you have wisdom, you find out there's no me. So you learn from the wisdom, you say, there's no me. Who's suffering? There's no one who's suffering. What's the matter with you? When are you going to wake up? Who's feeling bad? No one is feeling bad except me. All your bad feelings go towards me already. I collect them. You come to my temple so that you can dump all those things on me. Isn't that what you've been doing? You say, no, not me. I'm on your side. Okay? the Hinayana, they say, oh, I need to eliminate these one thoughts, these bad thoughts, however. It's very simple. I'm telling you, I'm teaching you the Mahayana and Hinayana practice, okay? That is, you have anything that says me, cut it off. Ignore it, that's all. That's all there is to it. Don't waste time on those thoughts. They are impermanent. They come and then they go. You don't have to do anything. Okay? Don't have to get upset. Don't have to reject them. They will go by themselves. They will die by themselves. Okay? And when you get a little bit higher, yes, 7.
Mô Phật và Thầy, người ta có cái tư tưởng đó là cái đó là bằng cái nghiệp của người ta, phải không Thầy? Có cái tư tưởng giống mình nói cứ nghĩ những cái tư tưởng mà mình không có thể tưởng tượng được.
It's that simple. All you have to do is that, for example, he insulted me. Okay? Is no one being insulted? Huh? If you have wisdom, if you really have wisdom, you realize no one is being insulted. Then now you don't have wisdom yet. All you have to say is, when I have wisdom, I'm bothered by it now, but it's a temporary state, so I don't have to do anything. Is that fast?
Mô Phật và Thầy.
You don't need to go like Hinayana, where they contemplate the impurities and they imagine you dead, and then the body bloats, and then you have pus oozing out your holes in your body and so forth, worms and so forth. It's too slow. Hinayana practice is too slow. All you have to do is that there's no one there. Then you become light right away. You don't believe me. That's what your problem is, okay? I'm being very honest and sincere right now for change. Go ahead, 7.
Mô Phật và Thầy, giống người ta có cái tư tưởng đó là suốt cả đời rồi, người ta cũng ra đi cũng mang cái tư tưởng đó, rồi làm sao Thầy?
Not enough blessings. The reason that's a good question. Oh, I've been ignoring the Vietnamese translation. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, translate.
So Master, she was asking, so if you have those kind of thoughts, is that because of the karma? And then if you have those kind of thoughts like your whole life, and then when you die, will you bring those thoughts with you?
I don't know. Have never been dead yet. Okay, just give me a few more years. All right. So thoughts. So you start first recognizing these negative thoughts about yourself that pop up in your mind. Get rid of them immediately. Let's make a deal. Okay? You can talk all you want. You can read all you want, but it's meant for you to be able to apply it to your daily lives. When you wear these negative thoughts, as soon as you're aware of them, ignore them. They are meaningless. Okay? She is so repulsive. Is that a positive thought or negative thoughts? Huh? Is that negative or positive? Positive. That you can recognize repulsive people. You are hopeless. I don't know what else to do with you. That's the next level. Next level is that first you get rid of the negative thoughts. Okay? Next is that look at the bright side. She's repulsive, I'm not. Yes, Andres. 3.
If you get rid of the negative thoughts, shouldn't you also get rid of the positive thoughts too?
Then what? Then what's the point in living?
Well, it's, the concept of attraction and aversion. So you're saying get rid of the thoughts that you cause, that you have aversions to. But what about the thoughts that you're attracted to, like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool or something like that? Like, I just, isn't it better just to not be attached to any of the thoughts, even like you said, the pleasures or the pains?
Okay. I'll give you an example of positive thought and see what do you think you should be doing. Okay? I can give it. You're boring. You have a boring life. Nothing really worth talking about. But let's say a person, this man here, look his wife and say, my wife is so beautiful. You're not helping. Huh? Okay. You gonna ignore that? Careful. See? See? Yeah, some thoughts are very good to have. You know what I mean? Seriously. Where were we again? Okay. No, the thing is that you have to start somewhere. And the drill I'm giving you today, okay, is take all negative thoughts and sweep them off. Don't care what they are. Master, so unfair, thank you. Unfair, not true. Okay? It's very simple. You start first with that. You see how wonderful your life becomes, just like that. That's the beginning of wisdom. Why? Because you're able to do something that others cannot. It doesn't matter whether you're right or they're wrong or whatever. Any type of negative thought you're aware of, dump them. Just dump them out, so ignore them. That's all you have to do. Okay? And I would tell you your life is improved by 60%. You're 60% happier. Yes, sir.
There's a bunch of, new thought, like positive thought, and I've read a bunch of that stuff. And a lot of it is, when you have a negative thought, you flip it instantly to a positive thought. So if you're mad at somebody, then you just automatically flip it to something you can find that's good about them or things like that. And I was doing that, and I felt really good for a little bit. And then after a while, it's weird, because then you start getting attached to the positives of things, and it causes a lot of attachment. So in my opinion, I definitely feel like it's better just to try to release your attachments rather than trying to think positively about things instead of think negatively.
Someone just inspired me to give an answer to that type of question or comment. And I'm thank you for the inspiration. Give me an example. if you train yourself, we're talking about just us, okay, not the bodhisattvas, okay? Who cares about bodhisattvas? We're low level, okay? Let's say you agree with me that for the next week or two, this week and next week when we do the 4G, when you have any negative thoughts in you, sweep them off. Who's willing to do that? Come on, Koreans, what are you doing here? What's the matter with these Koreans? Master, say something meaningful. Good Lord. It's so much pressure, you know. They're in samadhi constantly. Okay, so you have these negative thoughts, okay? As soon you recognize a negative, okay, sweep them up, throw them away. Whether they're right or not doesn't matter. They throw them away. If you can do that, okay, you're 60% home. I'm telling you. You try that, okay? This is not a joke. You have to take me seriously one of these days. I'm trying so hard, okay? And then what happens, theoretically, all that's left is the good thoughts, yes? For example, I love God. Reasonable? It's a positive thought. I love God. I love my wife. I love God. I mean, I love my wife more than I love God. Whatever, okay? I love God. That's it, just from my inspirational moment. Someone walked in. I have an example of what a positive thought. I love God. Yes? That's a positive thought. Okay? How do you deal with that? What's the matter with you? You have nothing else better to do? That becomes negative. Oh, Mary Jo likes my evil. Even a positive thought can be flipped into negative. You look at the right side. You look from the right perspective, it's negative, it's not positive at all. Yes, Mary Jo, let me have it. She's a therapist.
Yeah, well, the way the mind works is that when you have a positive thought, the negative pops up anyway. It sort of comes with it.
That's why it's very natural for you to flip it, a positive into a negative, just like that, effortlessly. What's the matter with you? Thank you, Daniel. You see that? It takes practice. You have to start first with negative thoughts. Just, I don't care. Whatever you realize negative, just sweep on. I don't care. This is nonsense. This negative thought is nonsense. Okay? So you have the skills now. You're able to do that quickly. So, and then you realize that your positive thoughts are actually negative because you're looking at the wrong from a wrong angle. That's all. So you sweep up the positive thoughts as well. What do you have left? Happiness. You're not negative, you're not positive, okay? You can be yourself. You embrace it. Positive, negative, doesn't matter to me. You're evil, I still like you. You're good, it's okay too. You're free. You're free from your petty self, calculating self. Okay, never mind. I don't know if that works. I never tried that. wait, that's a negative thought. Ignore that. All right, so when you get a little bit higher, when you're able to understand, have a little bit of wisdom, then this next is the next level for you. Then you realize that past thoughts don't matter. Thoughts about the past don't matter at all. It's irrelevant. It's gone already. Okay? Present thoughts don't matter. Okay? Because soon you think about it, it becomes a past already. Okay? So there's no such thing as present thoughts. Okay? And finally, future thoughts are not born yet. What are you doing? Okay? There's no such a thing as future thoughts. Okay? So this is level of wisdom where I feel that the Chinese speak too casually about this. They speak of this as an intellectual exercise. It's not. This is meant for people who have some wisdom, so that they can let go of their thoughts a lot more easily than the rest of us. For the rest of us, we need to start with that. Learn to develop the skills to get rid of thoughts. Okay, and so might as well focus on the negative thoughts. How come the Chinese never taught themselves that? That is baffling to me. So I'm teaching you. We Americans can learn how to do it a lot quicker than the Chinese. Chinese is too confusing to me. They know too much. They know a lot of book things, but they don't know how to be, how to use them. They just know a lot of things. You bring up anything, they say, oh, of course, I know. No, you don't. Yes, number 3.
I think that thoughts are like paired with feelings a lot of the time, like the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts. So is it possible that when you have these sort of thoughts, then the feeling comes up, you try to let go of the feeling and the thought will go away?
No, you got the order reversed. It's feelings that create thoughts, not the other way around. You have feelings first. That's why you have thoughts. Okay? Yes, Mary Jo. Number 5.
This is the exact opposite of what psychology teaches us.
Psychologists are confused. Sorry.
Yeah, we teach people that their thoughts are creating their emotional experiences.
Not true.
But it's actually the other way around. The
Not
feelings are creating a need for us to put meaning and figure out, like we get into our heads about what we're feeling. That's more of what you're describing, Master?
When you look at the thought creating feelings, those are fabricated. Your personally fabricated feelings. I'm talking about feeling a deeper level where they arise automatically without any intervention from you. That arise, that feeling, that's when the thoughts are born from those feelings. Okay, and those are the dangerous ones that use therapists and psychologists don't know about. That's why you deal with the superficial level, where you say, I have these thoughts here, and therefore they will generate feelings. So you're addressing skin deep level, okay? And it will not fix the problems. And it's called job security for me. Okay, to me, it's job security. You're fixing the wrong problems. What we do in Buddhism is fix the feeling at a much deeper level. Okay. Go ahead, Daniel. 7.
So I have a question. So what other thoughts are permanent And then my second question is, so what is the difference between having wisdom and thoughts? And my third question is, getting candy from the little place, the snack place, is it considered stealing?
Third question, I don't get it. I know it's funny somehow because it's a Catholic humor or something. But what's the third question again, please?
Is getting candy from the little snack place stealing? Yeah, downstairs is chocolates.
You've been stealing candies from us?
No.
Okay. Don't do that. Easy question. Let me try to answer. You want to answer him or you want to add more questions? Okay, I'm confused about I forgot what the first question was already. First question, someone help me out. See, even you forgot. And I thought I'm the only one who's old here. Help us. What's number one again?
The first question was, are there thoughts that are permanent?
The Buddhists has taught you that thoughts are not permanent. What are you doing asking that question? Oh, you walked in too late. Thoughts are impermanent. They're never permanent, never ever. There's no permanent thoughts, no such a thing. That's not possible. All right? That's second question.
The second question I forgot.
That's illegal. Only I can forget about this. Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. The second question was, what's the difference between thoughts and wisdom?
Oh, yeah, of course. What a stupid question. That's what we forgot immediately. What's the difference? It's night and day. What is wisdom? Wisdom is lack of thoughts. It's that simple. If you still have thoughts, you're not in a state of wisdom. This is the difference, folks. Let's be clear about it. The difference between ordinary people and lay people, ordinary lay people and wise and sages is what? Sabina. Difference is that a wise person can have thoughts just like the rest of us. But they can choose not to have thoughts when we cannot have that choice. We don't have that choice. We can choose. The sages, they said, oh, I don't want any more thoughts. And they enter this state of wisdom. Whereas we don't have that choice. That's the difference. Does it make sense? It's not supposed to make sense to you. Pass the test. All right? Does it help? Okay? So this is why we're teaching you all these things in Buddhism is to help you develop the skills. He said, I don't want any more thoughts, so that I can clear my head and remove the confusion. Whereas ordinary people don't have that choice. Once they're confused, anything could happen. They can't crawl themselves out of that hole. They dig themselves a hole deeper and deeper. Whereas sages, they said, time for me to shape up and flip. When we can't. And whereas they can. All right? Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, Master, so that's what I was asking. I said, so the thoughts, it's associated with the feeling. So like you said, the feeling comes up first and then we have the thoughts. So when you have a thought like that, like let's say you have like negative thoughts over and over again, like, but you keep getting rid of the thoughts. Like, would you have to, deal with that problem on the level of feeling rather than the level of the thought?
You're trying too hard. So, okay? You're trying to understand how to do it. There's no need to understand. You only have to do what I told you. You have to enter that state, and then it's easy to explain to you. Problem with worldly people, they want to understand everything when they can't. You explain to them, they can't. They don't get it. And that's what I admired about my late Chinese teacher. Okay, he's the only one I know of, the only monk alive I know of that I've ever met, even very briefly. He's the only monk who would teach us how to develop wisdom. He has his steps on how to do it. Whereas all the other monks I know, including his disciples, I asked them, all of them. I'm very demanding as a person. Okay, I asked, you Buddhists talked about first stage arhat. How do I become first stage arhat? Can you tell me how? Step number 1, step number 2, 3, 4, 5. Tell me. Okay? Don't tell me about the theory. I'm more interested in being there. Don't tell me about Paris. Tell me how to get there. The steps. By air, by sea? Huh? I don't care, but help me get there. Don't describe it to me. Okay? And he's the only one who could describe, who would tell you, give you the recipe, the steps on how to get there. And they all work, by the way. He's an extraordinary human being. He's the only one I know of who can do that. Unfortunately, after he died, no one else could. That's what's disappointing about him. I'm disappointed at him for that. Why? He has this treasure for humanity. He didn't pass it on to the next generation. That's disappointing. If you have a treasure, you're supposed to pass it on to your children. Understand? It's your responsibility. But anyway, so this is all we have. He's a great man who's no longer with us. So he took with him a lot of his secrets. And so that to me is disappointing with what he left behind. It's disappointing that knowledge was lost. It's lost. I'm very disappointed in that. Anyway, 3.
Thank you, Master. When I first started attending your Dharma talks many years ago, you gave me a treasure that, with your permission, I would share with Andreas because it's on this topic. You suggested, you armed me with a Vajra sword that I could use when thoughts came into my mind, like, stop crossing your legs. You have a Vajra sword, which is indestructible, very sharp, and you strike the thoughts with the Vajra sword and you pulverize the thought into nothing. And I've used that for many years now. It's been very helpful, but to give kind of like a, what does that look like visual? There's a there's a video game called Beat Saber. And the purpose of the video game is it's a virtual reality game, and there's constantly these blocks flying at you. And in either hand, you hold a saber. So in either hand, you have like a Vajra sword, and the blocks come at you, you just swat them away, and they turn into nothing.
I see. Pulverize them.
Thank you, Master.
Very good. It works. It works for him. It doesn't work for everyone. It works for violent people. People more inclined to violence and find beauty in violence. Talk to Mary Jo. You should have a talk with her. Yes, Daniel. Catholic violent?
I have another question. In that case, where does wisdom...
I asked you a question first.
Uh-huh.
Are Catholics violent?
Catholic what?
Violent.
Violence?
Yes. It's a simple question.
Is the Catholics violent?
Yeah. Are you violent?
Me, myself, yes.
He's not Catholic. Go ahead, ask the question. Good Lord, I know more about your Catholicism than you. You should not be violent, my friend. Look at us Buddhists. We are very, peaceful, loving people.
Oh.
Yes.
I have a question. So where does the wisdom come from? Does it come from higher power? Does it come from Buddha? Does it come from you? Where does wisdom come from?
It comes from me, of course. Why did he come here? Why do you keep on coming back? Because you're trying to steal the wisdom from me. Where does it come from? In Buddhism, wisdom comes from inside of you. Meaning that the wisdom is inherently inside of you. You just don't know how to use it. Remember, my definition of a sage is that the sage, he said, I have these thoughts. I'm having a good time with my friend, my son. Let's play baseball. Let's go to a ball game. Let's go to the zoo. Okay? All those are wonderful thoughts you should be sharing with your family. All right? But when the time comes, when you need to resort to wisdom to solve your problem, you say, oh, I'm not thinking anymore. That's when the solutions are the best. You see that? So in Buddhism, we recognize that. That's why we train our people. It's a lot of emphasis in Buddhism to train our people to learn not to think. There's a time that you should not think. Those times are the times when you need to solve problems. When you need to solve important problems, that's when you stop thinking. That's what Buddhists, that's the difference between Buddhists and Catholics. Catholics, you keep on praying to God, keep on praying for help and so forth. Help. Okay? In Buddhism, we stop thinking and calm down, and the clarity will come. That's why these are for superior people, my friend. You see, in your world, Mary Jo, you explain to people when you have this problem, this is what, this is why, and this is what you should do to counter that. You're still thinking. In our world, okay, you have a problem, cut it out. What thoughts? What me? There's no me, there's no thoughts, there's no one who's thinking. There's no one who's upset. There's no one who's miserable. Who's feeling miserable? No one. Who's thinking? No one. Who loves God? No one. So you can love God one moment, next moment, I'm above God. Because you don't think anymore. God loves, but we don't love. Yes, sir. 7.
I do like that idea. However, I see a flaw with it. The flaw I see is like, for example, my clients. How can I tell my clients cut the thought when they can't even cut the thought because they're not?
It's different. That's a different problem. I'm talking about normal situations where by yourself, let's say you live in a world where you're there by yourself, no one at all, no one around you, okay? Then you can do what I just told you. You can stop. However, for many of us, it's not the case. For many of us, our wife owns us. We love our wife dearly, so they own us. So when they call, yes, dear, how can we ignore them? Brady, you need to control yourself. This is one of my highest level Dharma I'm teaching you, and you, I'm not sharing these things with you anymore. Huge loss, to humanity. No, there are cases where actually I'll tell you one thing that I'm joking, of course, but the one thing that many of you experience is that, for example, thoughts of depression. Where does it come from? Let me tell you, not you. You have thoughts that you feel bad about yourself. These negative thoughts I talked about, some of them you will not be able to get rid of because they're not yours. Okay? And that's your reality. You can only get rid of the thoughts that are yours. Then once you get to that point, you realize many of these thoughts are not yours. They keep on coming back, coming back, coming back. That's how you can tell it's not yours. Does it help? Then you can tell you're depressed. Don't need no test, no therapist. They don't know. All those tests they came up with are not practical. Because it costs us money. I'm giving you free tests, free home kit. If they keep on coming back the same thoughts, okay, you're depressed. Recognize that, get help. Because that means if they keep on coming up like that, that means you cannot stop them. Get help. Don't be stupid. Is it clear? You need to know your limitations. Your own thoughts, your own negative thoughts, you can control them. But there are many cases for many of you, those thoughts are so strong. They keep on coming back time and time again. Okay? That's when you recognize it's not yours. We should be charging money for this, that Mary Jo. We should make a fortune doing this thing. Save the world a lot of grief. Yes, 9.
From Derek, Master, it sounds simple to do nothing with a negative thought, but sometimes it feels like too big an issue to ignore. For example, my mom has issues with me going to the temple. We fight about it. How can I start to sweep the negative thoughts away?
You're depressed. Get some help. Okay? You keep coming back. That's not you. Get help. All right. So remember, thoughts are impermanent. The practical implications are that you can sweep them off. The Chinese, the Indian, they teach them like some like scholarly thing. Thoughts are impermanent. Okay, it's meant to advise you to ignore them. Better yet, just dump them. All right? But always, of course, there's always exceptions. I just pointed out to you. There's some thoughts you cannot dump because they're not yours. Then you can't dump them. You didn't generate them. What are you doing? Okay. All right. So 3 minds of past, present, future are nonsense. Cannot be obtained. I mean, the Chinese is just so complicated. It annoyed me when I first started. 三心了不可得, 三心不可得. In Chinese, I say, cannot be obtained. Come on. It only means that just don't think about it. But the Chinese have a tendency to glamorize everything. And that's why their youngs are so confused. 三心不可得. They all mention that, they all quote that. But they don't know what it means. It means that you should ignore them. You should sweep them off. It's that easy. If you know how to do that, then you don't even bring it up. Because you want to keep the secret, don't you? The 4 marks are then empty. When, this is a little bit higher level, okay? So when you don't think of the past, the present, and the future, then the 4 marks, there's no more 4 marks naturally. What are the 4 marks? The 4 marks, well, in future, we know what the 4 marks are. Okay, the 4th, contemplation, station of mindfulness. You should always be mindful of this, always remember this. Number 4, dharmas without self. Okay, everything you observe in the world, okay, has no self. Anything and everything has no self. Okay, whether it's form dharma, okay, has no self. That has shape will lose its form. Okay, feelings, okay, are not real. Okay, it's okay to enjoy those feelings; those are natural. But don't be attached to feelings. Meaning what? As long as you're alive, you have these natural feelings that arise in you. Feeling of warmth, feeling of comfort. Yes? Those are natural feelings. Okay? Don't be attached. That's all. Thoughts. Okay? Thoughts are impermanent. Okay? Formations are the automatic thoughts, that automatic functions inside your body, like digestion, like breathing, like blood circulation. Okay, and finally, consciousness, dharmas. Consciousness is awareness. Okay, those are the components of the self. Questions, comments? Okay. Kong has a question. She was about to sneak out and say, oh, no one is here, so no one's going to notice me. Not. Go ahead, Kong.
Hello, regarding the feeling and thoughts, I interact with a lot of people here in Korea. And then I noticed that because the way place is a special environment, when somebody has a feeling of anger or happiness or whatever that is, it seems like people are looking for a reason to cope what it is. So they keep asking, why is this? Why is this? Why is this? So it's almost like it's just like automatic to form our thoughts to understand. I think that's like how we are. So maybe that's related to this topic. Just a personal observation that we are all doing that all the time.
So what's wrong with that?
Adding the comment that the thoughts arise from feeling.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting because at the beginning I didn't understand much about it, and then more and more there's more interaction with people, and then they keep asking me, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like that? And people are really focused on finding a reason why. So that's just additional comment to that information.
Okay, why? Okay. All right, anyone else? Yes, 5.
I find that what Shannon just said is interesting because feelings arise sometimes for no apparent reason that at least the logical mind can understand. So there can be 10 people you run into during the day, and then one person creates feelings in you that you don't even understand why you have that with that person. And
feelings of anger, you mean?
It could be anger, love, whatever it is, but there's no reason why one person it creates that and another doesn't. And then you wonder, like, did I know that person from another life? Like, where's this coming from?
All right. What do you need to know? Still need to know why. The problem with the people who insist on knowing why is that it's endless. As soon you answer the first why, then you ask why on those answers. So the best way to deal with that is that there's no why. Okay, but Xian is a salesman, so she can't say there's no why. Okay, it's part of the learning process where people naturally, when you first came to the temple, we have to tell you why, to appease you, to reassure you you're on the right track. But eventually, once you understand, once you believe, when you see the results of your spiritual practice, there's no need to know why anymore. Because the why is but a thought. So ignore that thought even. But I can't tell Sianan yet. She has to sell. Okay? When you need to sell, that's when you explain why. You don't need to sell, there's no why. Okay? Eventually, they'll be taught to recognize the why. That is not necessary. Okay, and there are 3 sufferings in Buddhism. Well, you should memorize these things because you recognize this is what happens to us. Suffering within suffering. You suffer and it's not bad enough. Something else comes along and compounds the problem, makes it worse. Okay? So that's the nature of suffering, by the way. Okay? Sometimes it's not additional suffering, it's just discovering that you suffer somewhere else as well. Okay? You weren't aware of. That's all. The suffering is endless. You look closely enough, you is suffering. And you look another place, it's another form of suffering itself. Okay? So suffering When you're within the suffering, you see more suffering within more and more and more suffering. It's endless. All right? But it's too depressing to think like that. But that's the truth. That's the nature of our existence. You can deny it all you want, but that's the way it is. Okay? Suffering or decay. Decay here to me is like aging, which is not your problem. Right, Brady? You know, they don't appreciate what it's like to have the body decay on you. You know? Yeah. Sabina have no clues. Why? Sabina is still growing. The body is still growing. For us, the body is dying. Okay, it's shrinking and it's losing its, its vigor, its enthusiasm, and so forth. But Sabina is just the exact opposite. Oh, life's so fascinating. It's so much fun. Huh? No, for us it's very depressing. Something you can look forward to, honey. You will experience that. Guaranteed. Okay? So this suffering and decay is that it comes about, the suffering is because we have something and we lose it. Okay? Suffering within suffering is that you suffer and discover actually it's also something else that we should be suffering as well, make us suffer. And then you also discover this is very, very depressing, let me tell you. It's because your suffering is not bad and you realize that, that actually you're just not heartbroken because your wife is divorcing you. But also you discover that actually your son here really hates you. Okay? And so forth. It's a multi-layer suffering. This is why people cannot handle it. People get depressed, especially in modern era. People are so easily depressed. Many of them have depression, especially kids. A few years later, Sabina will experience this. The kids have depression. It's because they're discovering. The more they know, they realize it's endless suffering. It's so depressing. There's no end in sight. Okay, suffering and decay is that you start having something you value that you appreciate. Then you start losing it. Okay, it's terrifying. All right? Suffering or life process is also the part of where, yes, 5.
I just want to say, Master, that Buddhism really is the only program that will teach you what you will gain from suffering. Whereas in the greater reality, without this belief system, it's just like you said, it's a form of depression, of loss, of lesser, of disappointment. But it doesn't have to be that way as Buddhism teaches us.
Exactly. Thank you for the comment. You're Buddhist, right? Yeah. Just to clarify for Daniel. See, Daniel wants to clarify. Yes, sir, 7.
I disagree with the gentleman. I think Catholic teaches you the same thing about losses and suffering and what we can gain from suffering, which is the ultimate goal is salvation.
Dream on. Okay, anyone else? Okay, suffering and decay. I have this theory here. I don't know you agree with me or not. Some years ago, like 10 years ago, I read this statistics that was baffling. Is Sangwook online? Sangwook, are you there? Where did she go? Oh, she's back there. Hello, Venerable Sang Wo. Say hello. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
And then you see, the statistics, it says, for us, we will experience backache. Sound familiar? Backache, back problems. How many of us? 100%. All of us will experience some kind of back pain or back problems in our life. All of us. Kim Deeng has went through it at least 20 times already. Huh? You agree with that or not? I found it baffling. 100% of us will have backache. No avoiding it. When I read it, no more like 30 years ago, you know what happened to me? Next week, my back locked up on me. I was bedridden for 4 days. It's fascinating. My back actually locked up on me. I was young too, and full of life. Not like right now, I'm bitter. Huh? Okay? So I hope it's not possible for any of us to avoid getting a backache. So far, so good? Okay? Here's my theory. What's my theory? You will be depressed. 100%. Life is too much. Life is too much for us. It's overwhelming. We will be depressed, albeit maybe a short duration or whatever, but we'll all be depressed, including Catholics. You know? What do you think? You agree or disagree? Yes, Anna, you experience depression already. See, now it touches a nerve. 1.
I had an experience going with the rehab doctor at the osteopathic center in San Diego. And I took all my, what is it called? The doctor's studies on my back and all that.
No. Weed?
My husband and I.
Oh, your husband. Sorry.
So when I arrived there, he says, I don't need to see any of that. And he told me, tell me what's the worst that is happening right now in your life. So then, eventually, he went on to explain that our back problems are emotional problems. So he says, the Dr. Sarno, he already passed away, but he was a very popular and a very good doctor for many sports and athletes.
Sports medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he would be helping them to identify that they need to address the emotional aspects in their lives.
Yeah.
And then he went on to say that his father is one of the teachers in I think it's USC San Diego. Mm-hmm. So, and they don't practice any kind of medications in the patients. Mm-hmm. But they just said that emotions are the ones who distort our backs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why we're depressed?
I'm not depressed, but you might identify that I'm depressed.
She sounds so defensive.
I mean, I don't feel that. I might be in denial. Thank you.
Well, you're still young, so you still have time. Mark my word. Someday you wake up and say, Master YongHua is right. I'm depressed. hey, doctor, what do you think? It's a good field, good profession to go into.
Yeah, my practice focuses a lot on the bodily symptoms that are the results of emotions and teaching people about that. So I agree.
All right. So it's just even if the diagnosis is there, it's not there, but you will experience it. Thoughts of depression, for sure. Okay, at some point in your life. Anyway, finally, the number 3 kind of suffering is suffering of process. This relates to the thoughts of depression as well. Thoughts process, the suffering of process that refers to the fact that thoughts are born into your mind. The thoughts come to your mind, okay, and they continually come and die. They come and die, okay, and that's that you have no control over it. Okay, that's a subtle form of suffering that people are in denial about. Okay, they accept the fact they have thoughts, but they don't realize those thoughts are actually torture, a form of torture, either from yourself or from your creditors. All right, so we can learn through meditation, through our spiritual practice, to stop tormenting ourselves, so that we can better recognize the torment from our creditors and address them and resolve them. All right? Questions and comments? Or Buddhism also talked about suffering in a different way of classification. We classify life suffering as 3 types: suffering of within suffering, suffering of decay, and suffering of a life process. Okay, but also you can look at the 8 sufferings. Suffering is can be categorized as 8 types: birth, old age, birth, aging, sickness, and death. And that's happens to all of us. Okay, we're born. The birth is very painful, not for just the mother, but also for the child. Old age is nothing we can do. The body ages, and that's we're helpless against it. Okay. And that suffering there is no way for us to avoid. Number 3, suffering of sickness. Okay, at some point in time, we will become sick. In particular, as you get older, you experience more sickness as a predecessor to death. Death is probably a terrifying process, and most of us, all of us, are secretly afraid of this thing here called death. Okay, terrified with that thought of death, with the thought that we eventually will have to die, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, even Buddhas have to die. No one is exempt from it. Okay, it's a matter of time. Okay, and especially in ordinary people, they have no way of controlling that. Okay, there's nothing they can do about it. Okay, and the 5th kind of suffering is suffering for being separated from those who love. Okay, that's what happens when you love someone and you are attached to them and you don't want to be. And so when you're separated from them, that suffering is pretty intense. Okay, Another suffering is being around the people that you hate. You run away from your house and you come to the temple, you find yourself facing a person you don't like at all. There's no place where you're safe from the people that you hate. Okay? And that is, especially for monks, it's very bad for us. We thought we left our homes, come to the temple, we have a pure life. No, we found ourselves stuck with the people that we cannot stand. Any comment? Anyone would like to share the personal experience? Ain't got all day. Okay, go quickly, please.
Master, I agree.
Go on. Names, places, time, country. Anyone else? I'm talking about monks and nuns here. That's air some dirty laundry. Q&A. Q&A. No? Okay. Ton changed his mind. Okay. So it's number 7, suffering or not getting what one wants. Okay. One thing that comes to mind immediately is be ignored by the ones you love and you desire. That is a lot of suffering. Okay. 8, suffering of the raging blaze of the 5 skandhas. This refers to the fact that because I don't know why the Chinese choose to be so scholarly when they explain these things. What does it mean, the raging blaze of 5 skandhas? It is so literary. You know, the Wu Yin, Chu Sheng Gu. Okay, Chu is burning. Okay, Sheng is violently burning, viciously. Okay. What does it mean? What does it mean? What are the Chinese saying? What are the Indians saying with this teaching, this truth here about our lives, about ourselves? It's not about the Indian, not about China. It's not about Afghanistan. Okay. What is this raging blaze of the 5 skandhas? No, you wouldn't know. But give it a chance anyway to see how shallow the Catholics' teachings are. 7.
What are skandhas exactly?
See? I rest my case. They don't even know what's 5 skandhas. Anyone else? What does it mean? I was about to explain to you. This simply means that the one who's causing really the thing that causes the suffering for you is yourself. You cause your own suffering. Because you still have a self. That's all. As long as you have a self, you will torment and punish and torture yourself. Depressing, isn't it? I'm out to prove that all of you will be depressed. Seriously. When you realize that, you should be depressed because the suffering comes from us, no one else's. Listen. Suffering from being apart from the ones you love. Get a new love. Easy solution, yes? Suffering being around those who hate. Shoot them. Suffering not get what you want. Steal it. Easy solution, yes? Finally, the last one. Suffering from the raging blaze of fire, Scondas, suffering from yourself. What are you going to do? Shoot yourself? Steal yourself? Huh? Love yourself? Ooh, very appropriate comment. Ooh, you love yourself. Huh? See that? It is a big dilemma for us. We are the problem. You are the problem. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how smart you are, how successful you are, how pretty you are. You're causing yourself grief, no one else. And you keep on blaming others for your suffering. You justify that you suffer because of others. But actually, you are the one who's causing your own suffering, no one else. Not them, not me. I'm innocent. They're innocent. You are the culprit. What do you have to say for yourself? See, my legs are hurting because I'm not happy. Who told me to cross my legs like this? Constantly, morning and then afternoon. This is nonsense. Huh? You see that? The eighth kind of suffering is the most depressing one. The most depressing Buddhist truth. We are the problem. We're causing all our problems. We're the source of all our problems. And because if you understand that, then there is hope. If you don't believe it, like most non-Buddhists do, they don't believe it. I know you don't believe it. No need to raise your hands. Deny. Okay, give him a microphone so that he can practice denial in public. 7. Soju is in Samadhi again. He says, oh, liberation. I should start hating myself. Yes, 7.
I completely agree because it's a Catholic teaching, so.
Catholic what?
It's a Catholic teaching too, so I completely agree.
So what do Catholics do about that?
What we do is we have to pray and we have to learn about how to basically the correct way to suffer, though. That's what we learn.
That will not fix it. You can pray all you want. It's not going to fix it. Yes, 7. 9.
This is from Jared. How do I not suffer as much? And then he changed it to, how do I stop my anger issues?
Jared? Our Jared?
Yes, our Jared.
What? You know how old our Jared is? The same Jared I know? The only Jared I know? The one that has a tail behind his head? Not behind his rear, it's the head. Move north. Get away from yourself. He sounds depressed, doesn't he? You should be depressed. You know, you are causing all the grief in your life. It's you. It's very depressing. That's why my theory is 100% of us will experience depression. Nothing you can do about it. Q&A. See how deftly I avoided answering the question? Okay. Old monk.
A Di Đà Phật. Con thấy cái này là cái chánh ở trong cái kinh Phật dạy mình. Nguyên nhân mình khổ là tại mình có cái ta, cái self. Mình cái gì cũng me, I suffering, he hate me, he take away from me, from blah blah blah. Thì mình tại cái self đó mà mình ra tất cả vấn đề. Con nhẫn dịch đi.
I think like this is from the teaching of the Buddha, like the suffering. The reason is because we all have the self. So we all say that like he hates me, he takes things away from me, blah, 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 blah.
Thì bài học đầu tiên là Ngài Tổ Huệ Năng dạy mình. Khi Ngài thấy hai ông tăng cãi với nhau là cái lá phướng bay, ông kia nói trật rồi, gió bay chứ phướng không có bay. Thì cứ như vậy qua lại thì Ngài Huệ Năng nói là gió không bay, phướng không bay mà cái tâm mấy ông động.
So the first lesson is Master Huineng. He taught us in Six Patriarch Sutra. So when he saw the two monks were arguing against with each other, because one monk would say like the flag was flying, and the other monk was argue like no, the wind caused the flag to move, and then they keep debating back and forth like that, and then in the end, Master Huineng say, no, none of you. Right. It's your mind that move.
Và bài học thứ hai là Tổ Quy Sơn của mình dạy thế này. Các vật xung quanh mình, nó dạng vật xung quanh mình, các pháp đó, nó không có nói có, nó không có nói tốt, nó xấu, tại mình. Mình thấy thì mình đánh giá. Là cái nguyên nhân đó là mình khổ cho ai nữa. Đó là cái bài học thứ hai của Tổ Quy Sơn.
And then the second lesson is from the Master Huishan. He said like all of the things outside, it didn't say that whether it's right or it's wrong or whatever, but it's us, our judgment mind decided. Our discrimination mind.
Đây là bài học con học được khi đi Đại Hàn với thầy năm 2018. Cho dịch đi.
And this is the lesson that I learned from you when I go with you to Korea in 2018.
Thì đêm đó con ngủ chung phòng với thầy, thì con ngồi được thấy thầy ngồi thì con ngồi, ông trụ trì cho hai thầy trò ngủ chung một phòng, thì con thấy thầy ngồi thẳng, con cũng không có dám nằm, con ngồi thẳng. Nhưng mà sau 1 tiếng đồng hồ thì con gục xuống.
So the abbot arranged for me to stay in the same room with Master, and then I saw that Master was sitting upright, so I didn't dare to lay down to sleep, so I sat up. And then after 1 hour, I began to slouch.
Thì khi con ngã xuống thì con nghe cái tiếng mình lỗ tai nói rất là nhỏ, chỉ đủ nghe thôi. Ai biết ngủ bù chú tụng đi rồi dạy cho.
And then I hear a small voice talking to my ear, say that whoever know the 5 spiritual mantra, recite it, and then I will teach.
Thì con nghe cái tiếng ngồi thì con ngồi xa ra, không có dựa tường nữa mà ngồi thẳng lên cho đến 9 giờ sáng luôn, không đau, không mỏi, không buồn ngủ.
Hearing that voice, I straightened up my back, and then I sat far away from the wall. I did not lean against it, and then since then I could sit straight up until 9 a.m. the following morning.
Rồi thì sau đó 1 ngày 2 ngày gì thì ở trong khách sạn để chờ về Minh Mỹ này đó, thì ngồi trong khách sạn không biết làm gì, nhìn cái màn cửa đó.
And then after that incident, and then a few days later, we were getting ready to go back to the U.S. And then before we get to the airport, we stay in the hotel. And then, like the whole day staying in the hotel was kind of like boring, don't have anything to do. So I just look at the
window.
The window with the curtain.
Thì cái tấm màn đó in hình một cái cô người phụ nữ Đại Hàn mặc kimono thôi, rất đơn giản thôi.
And then the curtain has a simple image of the Korean lady wearing the kimono, the traditional clothes.
Thì khi con ngồi con nhìn theo tiếng.
What is the traditional clothes you wear?
Nó ngộ ra cái huệ năng nói mà gió bay phướng bay đó.
And then I keep looking at that curtain with that image, and then suddenly I understand the principle that Master Huay Nang was taught the 2 monks about the flag is flying or the wind is blowing.
Cái hình này không có mời, không có gọi, không có đẩy, không có nói cái gì mình á. Mình nhìn tấm hình là mình đánh giá rồi mình phiền não, chứ cái hình này không có nói gì mình hết á. Tức là các quanh mình
didn't really say anything, didn't invite anything or whatever. So, but our mind decide with our kind of opinion.
Còn nữa về binh bát nhã mà dài quá thì con xin hết ở đây.
That's it. Thank you.
So, because we know that's of the ego, we teach you this. The Buddha taught us this, that the primary source of our suffering is the ego. And there's a way to escape all that suffering, and that's the Buddhist practice. Okay, and so that's what he taught. He taught us how to end all suffering by eliminating the ego, and that's possible. Many people have done it in the past. Many people have done it at our temples as well. So you see, Buddhist practice is not about talk. It's about if you believe in these teachings, then you can learn the exact methodology or Dharma doors, how to get there yourself, where there's no more suffering whatsoever. All right? All right. I think time is up. Perfect. Then next time we do 4950. Thank you all.